Hello, loves. Welcome to another episode of The Random. My name is Marianne Awor-Odoyo, and thank you for joining me today. I want to explore assumptions. Let's start at the top. So, yesterday I bought eggs for supper, and I was like, I told my siblings, each of you is going to eat 2 eggs, right? And I ended up not eating my 2 eggs, okay? So, in the morning today, I went to the fridge and there was only a single egg remaining. So that means someone ate 3 eggs instead of 2. I naturally assumed it was my brother, my older brother, and I was convinced. I was so convinced. I was like, it is him. It's got to be him. And I was mad for a while, but I was like, well, that's just who he is, like, let him be who he is. And there was some judgment made. Okay, fast forward a few moments later, my younger sister says she is the one who ate 3 eggs, the last person on my mind. And that had me thinking assumptions. I naturally assumed it was my brother, but then it was not him, right? And like, I even believed that it was him, basically. So it had me thinking, what if most of our beliefs are based off of assumptions? I feel like there are things, so many things that we may have naturally assumed without even thinking about it. And I asked myself, what are things I do assume? And it's like, I assume everything is naturally meant to work out for my highest good. Okay, there's a lot of assumptions, but okay, so assumptions, there are things we make assumptions, right? And when these assumptions are supported and reinforced, we create beliefs out of them. If what I had assumed about my brother having taken the eggs was kind of supported and reinforced, the assumption I made about his character, number one, the assumption I made about who he is, or that judgment or that belief would have been reinforced and would have naturally become true, right? But then my assumption was kind of opposed, right? Opposed when my sister said, no, I am the one who took the egg, right? So I had to think about the assumption I had made. So when the assumptions we make are opposed, we are kind of called back to rethink, right? Or when these assumptions are supported, when you make an assumption about something, about someone's character, about anything, and then it is supported, this assumption just kind of makes it into the belief factor, and your beliefs affect the lens through which you're viewing the world. So what if most of the beliefs we carry are based off of assumptions we make, assumptions of what life should look like, about what we are, about how we should show up, about who people are. And it's like, it had me thinking, what if most of the decisions I have made are just decisions made from a place of assuming, making assumptions about people's character, making assumptions about how things are meant to play out. I'm like, and most assumptions are rather inaccurate, actually. Again, I was rewatching one of my videos, and there was this whole story time I said about how I had not gone to school, but my sister thought I was in school. And so when someone was looking for me, she said, well, Marianne is at school, right? But I was in the bedroom. So she said, Marianne is at school. And from that video, I was like, she was saying the truth as was presented to her, because in her mind she thought I was at school, right? But as I was rewatching it, I was like, she was assuming, right? Because even if I was not at home, they wouldn't know where I had gone. Just because I go out and say I'm going to school does not mean I am going to school, right? It is an assumption that God, it's like we assume so many things without even knowing that we do. That's just how I feel. Like most, some, if not most, of our beliefs are based off of assumptions. Based off of what we think is true, what we think is right, what has been presented to us in the moment. And if that assumption is supported and reinforced, it becomes a truth and a lens through which we view and experience the world, right? So unless this assumption is opposed, unless it is proven to not be true, we don't question it. Crazy, right? Dang. That's just how I feel. Bye.